outsiders, readers, and viewers. As you can see, we are with a special guest today. It's nice to have you here with us. So, can you
Thank you for
introduce
having me.
yourself?
Hi, my name is ADRIAN LYLES, and thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So, let's start with the question, and
Absolutely.
we're gonna start from your beginnings. So, how did your passion for music and acting started, and what is your first memory related to it?
I've been doing music for forever. So I was playing piano when I was like 3. My parents put me in it like really young. So I've been doing it for a long time. But I think the first time I realized that I had like a real passion for music was listening to a 21 Pilots song for the first time. And it changed my whole perspective on it. I had never wanted to like create my own music until I heard them do it, and I just completely fell in love with it. Like became super obsessed with everything that had to do with writing and rapping and playing and accompanying yourself and just writing and creating the piece. And also, I went to like a performance art style high school called Booker T. Washington. It's in Dallas, and I was just around all sorts of different art forms. So it was music, and then it was also theater, and then it was like visual arts, like painting and drawing, and then it was dancing. And I love all forms of expression. So being able to switch over and start acting I'm so grateful for that. So the passion came from those two places. And first singing memory was probably singing Stitches by Shawn Mendes at this bar with this music school that I was a part of when I was like 11. So that's like one of the first memories I have, and I remember it so vividly. Wild night, wild that we're here now. But yeah.
And I actually think that when you start really young, maybe at first you don't get what's happening because like you're certain that you want to do that for the rest of your life, but at the same time you're such at a young age that you don't really get it at first. But in the meantime, it has the like you have more time to experiment with yourself as an artist, and as you said, combine things. You studied acting as well, so I think that's so
Absolutely,
great.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, being that young, I was just doing whatever my parents would sign me up for. I was probably in
Yeah.
like soccer or like baseball too and stuff like that, just doing whatever. But music always stuck. Like that was like the one thing that I like. I have like crazy ADHD, so my brain is always all over the place. But music is like the one thing that always really held my attention and still does. So I was like, oh, this is special. And then I heard the 21 Pilots record, and I was like, all right, I love this, and I want to do it forever.
So now talking about High School Musical, the musical, the series, you played Jet.
Yes.
So thinking about the song Right Place, if you had to choose what is the right place for you, a safe space where you can be yourself in the present and also in the future, what would it be and why?
Uh, I would probably say just being at home. I mean, I feel like it's most people's safe place, but I mean, it's a place that, like, when you go outside or you're with people or you're at school or at work or whatever, you are being whatever version of you is the best for that specific time and place. Whether you have to be more professional because you're in a work environment or more lax because you're with your friends. Being at home, I can literally just be like exactly who I am all the time, and I don't have to like think about it. And I try to be myself as much as possible, but it's like at home, you don't really have to think about, oh, I'm not trying to be anything other than like what I am. And I mean, it's also just the place where I write most of my songs, and like I practice for self tapes and auditions and read scripts and write. And so it's like, um, I just feel the most comfortable by myself doing it at home. And I feel like that doesn't change. Like, the house could change, but it's like
Yeah.
that feeling of being home. Yeah, it's always safe.
Yeah, I mean, being an introverted myself, I get the kind of comfort that, I mean, just being in your room and doing whatever you want. And also, as you said, composing, you get the inspiration and stuff to compose. So that's great.
Absolutely. It's fantastic. I mean, you can be completely creatively yourself without having to worry about what anyone else may say or critique or opinion. It's great.
So now, always about songs, but we're talking about one of your songs, Limbo.
Yeah.
I've recently saw a video of you performing it live.
Yeah.
So imagine that you are in a limbo that allows you to find yourself in one of your greatest dreams. What would it be and what would it represent for you?
Um, I've always had this like I my crazy dream since I've been like 13, 11 when I started singing and like playing and performing is like I want to play Madison Square Garden in New York in my pajamas. And I don't know why. Like just like pajama bottoms and like a t-shirt and like play one of the most like critically acclaimed stages in the world. Like that like idea to me is so crazy. And like it's actually, there's a Tyler the Creator song where he says like played some demos at Madison Square Garden, and I think that's so funny, like treating it like it's not the huge thing that it
Yeah,
is and going and performing that. And I think what it would represent is like, oh, this dream that kind of started all of this, like the first thought I had and like the end goal, like I'm here now, like what do I do, like I've made it to that point, like that's what that represents for me. um and then it's just up from there. But being like seeing that dream so vividly that long ago and then actually living it, that's where I'm trying to get to.
yeah, and always about comfort, being
Yeah.
dressed in a pajama.
Absolutely. No matter where you are, you could comfy.
Um, you've been doing live performances lately. What do you
Yes.
feel when you are on stage in front of an audience, and what would you like to transmit to the people who listen to you? And also thinking about a future tour, where would you like to perform?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I have been live performing, which has been fantastic. I mean, I started live performing when I was like 13 and playing all over, and then I started doing the show, and so I hadn't done it in a while. And I actually just did another show on Monday at the Moroccan Lounge, and I love it. It feels like home on stage, like safe, because I feel like concerts are one of the few places where it's like everyone in the room, the artist on stage, and the people in the crowd are all there for the same purpose, which is just to like understand and be understood and like sing songs and have fun. Like it's
Yeah,
one of the most, and of course it differs for artists, but it's like it's a safe area, and I love that. I love performing. I love playing my songs for people and seeing how it's individually affected everyone that's heard them. So I want to transmit what I was feeling when I wrote the song to the people that are listening to it, whether that I was sad and I felt a kind of way, or I was angry, or I was happy, or I was confused or conflicted about something. I want people to feel that. But at the same time, I don't think it's like a one-way exchange, I feel like I also want feeling transmitted back to me, because it's like what do you feel from like what I'm doing up here, because like I'm singing it to you, so how is it affecting you, and then I want to feel that energy. And that's always been kind of the appeal of live performances for me. Like you get to show other people how you feel, and they get to show you how it makes them feel right back. it, Unbeatable feeling. But and also, as far as like where to perform, Madison Square Garden, like we were saying, in the pajamas. And then I'd say Red Rocks in Colorado. It's like this beautiful stage. I grew up listening to this band called AJR, and
okay.
So for like the longest time, I just wanted to do like whatever they were doing, I wanted to do it. So they were in this interview and they were like, "Oh, like Red Rocks, like we want to perform at Red Rocks." And so I was like, "Okay, like that's my dream now too. Like I want to perform at Red Rocks." So like those two spots are like dream venues for me.
And also, I think that being a singer, the live are such an important moment because, as you said, you get to share emotion as well. But at the same time, it's a safe space where you can totally disconnect. I mean, my
Yeah.
sister, who's the owner of the site, I usually do international interviews, and she's a photographer, and she do mostly concerts. So I really get the feeling of being under the stage with her as a
Right.
press for articles. So yeah, it's comforting. Again, we were talking about comfort the whole time, and yeah, you can totally disconnect yourself for maybe what's going on your life at the
Absolutely.
time. So such a great space to be in. And I mean, people
Right.
maybe might prefer going to, you know, clubs with friends. I'm more of the type, like, I prefer concerts, maybe even EDM
Same here.
concerts,
Same here.
but
Yeah.
it has to be a concert somehow.
Right. Same here. I mean, I saw AJR perform live. They were like my first concert ever, and I was like, oh, like that's so cool. Like I want to do that. And I feel like this industry is so digital, like almost all of the connection is digital, whether you're watching an actor you like on TV or you're seeing their concert on your phone or you're listening to their music in the car or whatever. It's like it's also like obviously there's a connection, but
Yeah.
it's somewhat disconnected. And then concerts give you like a chance to like see firsthand the people that are listening to you and are affected by you, and they get to see you and how you're affected by them. And I think that that's what it's all about. Like you release it so you can get to that moment of that genuine connection to people.
Yeah, for sure. It's a wonderful feeling to live. So, you've worked with many people so far. What
Yeah.
is the most meaningful thing you've learned from them, and what would be your advice to someone who wants to work in this industry?
I mean, yeah, I've worked with some of the most incredible people I've ever worked with before. Like, from a music perspective, I've been working with like, Max Martin and Oak Felder and John Stone and Phil Simmons, Ella Bow, like all these incredible producers and songwriters. And then from the acting perspective, I mean, the whole cast of High School Musical and all of that, like working with them, both of them, I've been taught the same thing on both sides, even on completely different subjects. But I feel like there's like this constant urge to try to be what other people like expect from you. And I feel like it's oversaid to be like, be yourself, know? Um, I think that like that is truly key over everything. Because I think, especially with music, I think a lot of it now is like, oh, what are people going to think is cool? Or what are people going to really like? Or what are people going to want to hear? It's like, you think is cool? Like, what do you really like? What do you want to hear? And then make that, like, make what you think people are missing. I think that's been the most valuable pieces of advice that I've ever made, like, I've ever gotten from anybody, is just like, what do you like and do that, instead of focusing so hard on what other people think and what other people like. Because if you like it, a lot of people out there are probably also going to share that interest and they're also going to like it. Um, and that's on both sides. And just, in general, I just do what you like to do, be who you like to be.
Yeah, that's such a great message. In It's also connects with the way we view our site because the name of our site it's Outsiders. So being an outsider in that way, as you said. People right now, especially, you know, maybe the labels and stuff itself, they mostly see how a song is going to be in the charts and see the commercial part of it, which,
Right.
I mean, it's great to have your song on the charts, but it's not everything.
Absolutely.
Most songs that maybe have meaningful meanings and personally I connect to are not the mainstream ones. So,
Right. Right. And there's definitely a way to balance. I think it's interesting in a way where how when you are just genuinely yourself and do what you do, how it does work. I mean, you could look at look, I look at some of my favorite artists. If you have people like Kendrick Lamar, for example, Kendrick Lamar has songs that have gone crazy on radio. But if you listen to it, it isn't because he sat down and was like, "We need like a radio hit," or like the label says we need this one to go crazy. That one was just it was all him and it was all like his emotion and it was all honest, and that song just happened to go viral because it's a great song, and not all of them are going to go viral. And but you're going to have something that's like I wasn't trying to make something insane like this, but here it is, like popping and going crazy. AJR is another great example of that because they always attack what they do with such like let's be ourselves and no one's going to tell us how we make what we make. And then their songs go crazy and viral because people hear it and they're like, what is this? I've never heard anything like it before. And that's always personally inspired me to want to create things that I'm like, oh, I've never heard anything like this. Let me try to make something like that. I've never heard anything in this direction. This is what I want to hear from other people. So I'm just going to make it. And I think that's an important mindset to have. Just do what you do.
and yeah, that's wonderful because you can be unique, you can be in your own way. And yeah, if it's a good song, I think music, as you said, music will find its way.
Right.
Became viral because it's a good song, so people will listen to it no matter what.
That's true. Music does find a way.
So, last but not least, uh, I was talking about the name of our site, which is Outsider, and we view it as in a way to be unique, uh, in doing your kind of stuff out of the ordinary, but in a good way. So, what do you think makes you an outsider in life and artistically?
Um, Kind of in the same direction as the last question, where it is like, I think right now and it's not a bad thing, but I just think it is what it is right now. A lot of people digitally, because there's such a powerful digital presence now, is be cool and like here's what I think is like, I think people want to see this and people will like me more if I do this and I do that. And I think people, like I was saying earlier, don't focus enough on like, what do I like? What do I want to do? What do I think is cool? And I've always kind of been one of those people that's been like, I'm not like, I wasn't even up to the trend. I didn't know it was happening. I'm like not even thinking about it. And I feel like that has definitely just helped in the long run because musically, I always try to dive in a direction of something I haven't heard before or a song topic that may be super niche to me, but I'm like, it's honest to me and this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to write about it. And if like a lot of people feel it or if a couple people feel it, like this is how I'm feeling. And I think that can definitely make you feel unsure and like an outsider at points because you're thinking like, oh, all these people are succeeding and they're like doing this and it's so cool and it's like what is so cool digitally and like I'm doing not that exactly,
Yeah.
but I think if you are really true to who you are and what you represent and what you care about and your art or just you as a person, um, it has a way of paying off, and you'll feel better and you won't constantly worry about what other people think because you'll be so caught up in what you think, and that's what you should care about. I mean, all within, of course, like you said, in a good way, but I think people should really just like love who they are and do what they do and not worry about other people's opinions about it.
Yeah, and getting to that point, it's such a great feeling, and it's always a journey because uh people always try to put you in a box, and as you said, they try to make you an outsider, but makes you makes you feel wrong in a wrong way, and you have to embrace that being an outsider, it's not a bad thing.
No.
And it's just being yourself, being true to who you are, as you said. So it's a whole journey to get to the point, but when you do, it's a great feeling for
Oh, it
sure.
is. It's fantastic. When you can really see yourself in everything that you do, it's great.
And to wrap this all up, could you say hi to outsiders, readers, and viewers, and all your fans, obviously?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, outsiders, all the readers, all the viewers, and all of my fans that are here. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed
Thank you
coming on
for your
and talking.
time.
Of course.